is Gennady, and you're watching Dante Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? You know, there's been a lot of stuff going on in boxing recently. I mean, we just seen James Degale beat Lucian Bute in a very impressive fashion. We just watched Danny Jacobs knock out Peter Quillen in the first round. Right when it looked like there was really no one who could challenge Gennady Golovkin outside of pound for pound the best fighter Andre Ward, because Golovkin refused to fight him, there was really no one else to really challenge him. At least that was the perception. But now you have James Degale. Now you have Danny Jacobs. And I believe, and now you even have Erislandy Lara, who said he's going to move up to 160, who also had an impressive performance against Zavik, knocking him out in the third round. Okay? But in this video, I want to talk mainly about James Degale. Now, James Degale just recently said that he wants to fight Gennady Golovkin at 168. Now, for those of you guys who don't keep up with Gennady Golovkin and the things that they say in interviews, you know, who they want to fight and all that kind of stuff, let me get you guys up to date. Now, Team Golovkin said that they wanted to fight Carl Froch and they wanted to fight Chavez Jr. at 168. They said this not too long ago. This was very recent. Matter of fact, Abel Sanchez and Tom Loeffler, they said they still want to fight Carl Froch. Now, even though Carl Froch is inactive, which is the excuse that fans use all the time why Golovkin should avoid Andre Ward and not fight him, they always use this inactive excuse. Now, even though Carl Froch is more inactive than Andre Ward, for some reason, Team Golovkin, they still wanted to fight Carl Froch. So we know that the inactive excuse is just that, an excuse. So anyway, after Golovkin, you know, calls out fighters at 168, he didn't want to fight Andre Ward at 168, but he was willing to fight other fighters at 168. Now you have another fighter at 168 in James Degale. I just recently said in the James Degale Lucian Bute post-fight video that now James Degale is the man to beat at 168 since Andre Ward moved to 175. And with James Degale calling out Golovkin, this seems to be the best matchup for Golovkin, considering he doesn't get the Canelo fight, which I've been saying that Canelo, he needs to either give up that belt or fight Golovkin. Okay? So you got a lot of, you know, ducking and dodging going on right now in these divisions. But getting back to James Degale wants to fight against Gennady Golovkin. If Golovkin doesn't get the Canelo fight, we already know he's not going to fight Andre Ward. He already said he's willing to move all the way up to 175, according to his trainer. I interviewed his trainer, Abel Sanchez, and Abel told me that he's willing to move all the way up to 175. Why? Because Golovkin beats up cruiserweights when he spars. Okay? So with that being said, now you have James Degale. I also said on a couple videos, and I said on the radio show, the fight I want to see is Golovkin versus James Degale. And right after I said that, James Degale, he comes out and he says he wants Golovkin. Now notice how eager Team Golovkin was to fight Chavez Jr. at 168. Notice how eager they were to fight Carl Froch, a guy who is quote unquote inactive. But they never mentioned James Degale's name. They never mentioned James Degale's name. Matter of fact, when Gennady Golovkin and his team were aggressively pursuing a Chavez Jr. fight and a Carl Froch fight at 168, they were actually asked the question, what about James Degale? And it's so funny because Tom Loeffler, he straight out said they're not interested. He said that James Degale is not a big enough name, etc., etc., etc. Right? He pulled the not marketable enough card. But do you guys notice there's 3 fighters that he's not calling out? That is Andre Ward, James Degale, and Erislandy Lara. Now, when it comes to Andre Ward and James Degale, what do they have in common? You give up? They are both gold medalists in the Olympics. They are both very slick fighters that can adjust. They can both fight on the inside as well as the outside, right? Now I throw Lara in the mix. What do all 3 of them have in common? They all have a very, very deep amateur background, right? Very deep. Cubans are known as some of the best amateurs in boxing. So clearly, Gennady Golovkin, he looks at fighters like James Degale, Andre Ward, and Erislandy Lara as the most dangerous opponents that he can possibly face because of their extensive amateur pedigree. You know, guys, I believe next year we're going to find out if Gennady Golovkin is the real deal or if he's the overrated fighter that many fans have criticized him of being, right? I think we're going to find out next year because there's too much pressure on Golovkin right now. And you have all of these fighters closing in on him. So we might find out next year. Is he the next Marvin Hagler? Is he the next Bernard Hopkins? Or is he the next Ronda Rousey? We're going to find out. I'm hoping it's next year. It might be 2017, but I can almost guarantee you we're going to find out within the next year or 2. Because you can only fight the Willie Monroes and the David Lemieux for so long until even your biggest supporters come out and say, listen, Golovkin, we love you, but man, you got to step up in competition. You got to show people that you're not just a name that people like. You can actually fight. You can actually fight someone who's going to fight back and still win. You can still get a knockout even when you step up in competition, right? This is what I believe a lot of fans are going to start to say. Matter of fact, I believe a lot of fans are already saying that now. I even noticed there's more articles coming out about Gennady Golovkin needing to step up in competition and fight someone. As you guys know, I have a video where I interviewed tons of professional boxers and trainers, and they're all saying the same thing that I'm saying. Okay? So for all these emotionally attached, extreme, ridiculous decaf Golovkin fans that say stupid stuff like, oh, you know, if you're criticizing Golovkin, you're racist and all this crazy stuff. You guys have to explain, why is it white people are saying the same things about Golovkin? Why is it people from Russia, you know, countries very close to Golovkin's country, why are they saying the same things about Gennady Golovkin, Teddy Atlas, Matt Karabov, right? Other boxers, black, white, etc. Terrence Crawford. Why are these people saying these things? You know, for me, guys, this feels like Nonito Donaire all over again. This Gennady Golovkin situation. Because I remember a couple years back when Jim Lampley declared Nonito Donaire is pound for pound number 3, the best fighter in the world, right? And then all the media, they basically followed Jim Lampley's lead, or at least the majority of the media. I remember at this time, I was exposing a lot of flaws in Donaire's game. And every time I seen him fight, I kept saying there's no way this guy has a chance against Guillermo Rigondeaux. Keep in mind, once again, the situation is very similar to Andre Ward, versus Gennady Golovkin. Andre Ward constantly calling out Golovkin. Golovkin doesn't want the fight, right? Guillermo Rigondeaux constantly calling out Nonito Donaire. Donaire doesn't want the fight. And here I am exposing the flaws. And I'm saying I want to see this fight. The real boxing fans, they want to see the best against the best, right? Now, every time I expose the flaws, the things that Donaire does wrong, and why I believe he would lose to Rigo, I would get all these fans saying, oh man, you're just racist. You're just racist to Filipinos, Dante, right? Saying this crazy stuff, even though my kids are half Filipino. But they would say this ridiculous stuff. Why? Because they were basing everything on emotion. They would never say, Dante, I disagree with you because of this and that, right? They would never try to rebuttal anything. All they would say is, you're an asshole, or you're racist, or you're this, or that. What they were basically saying is, why do you have to tell the truth, Dante? We really like this guy. Don't tell everyone the truth. That's what they were really saying. Because when a person throws insults at you with no rebuttal, that means they understand that what you are saying makes all the sense in the world. Okay? So that's why this Golovkin situation reminds me of the Nonito Donaire situation. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not Gennady Golovkin's fault, but his presence is bringing out some of the most ridiculous ignorance that I have seen. And man, when I say that, that says a lot. Because we done seen and heard a lot of ignorance in the sport of boxing. But Gennady Golovkin's presence takes that ignorance to a whole nother level. There's this guy who would flood my comment section with comments on every video that I do. He's like the first person to comment, and he just fills up, the comment section with all type of ignorant ass comments, to say the least. Now, when Sergey Kovalev called Adonis Stevens a monkey, and he went on radio shows where he called black people the N-word, he calls black fighters pieces of shit. And when I did a video about John Pascal exposing this, right? John Pascal saying he never calls white people pieces of shit. He never calls white people monkeys. He never calls white people the N-word, obviously. I'm paraphrasing some of that. But the point that I'm making is, when I made a video talking about John Pascal exposing this same guy, he jumped to Kovalev's defense, of course, right? Naturally. He starts telling me how, it's not racist and you're overreacting, you're being too dramatic, and come on, man, stop crying about racism, and etc., 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 right? Now, when Kovalev calls a black person a monkey, we all know that racist people have been using that to offend black people since the inception, right? So with that being said, once again, like I said, this guy, he defends Kovalev for calling black people monkeys, the N-word, pieces of shit. But then when I do a video saying Danny Jacobs' knockout in the first round over an undefeated fighter, Peter Quillen, was better than Gennady Golovkin's win over David Lemieux, this guy calls me a racist. Wait a minute, you were just telling me a minute ago that I was crying about racism. Now here you are, contradicting yourself, crying about racism your damn self? We know what time it is. We know what time it is. So this is the Decal's philosophy. If Kovalev calls black people monkeys, pieces of shit, the N-word, oh, that's not racist at all. Don't you even suggest that has anything to do with race, right? You're just crying if you think that. But if you criticize Gennady Golovkin, if you say, Gennady Golovkin, since he talked about moving up to 168 and fighting Froch or Chavez Jr., why doesn't he just step his game up and fight Andre Ward? They call you racist for that. right? If I say, Gennady Golovkin is 34 years old. He needs to fight somebody. He needs to step up in competition. They call that racist. We know what time it is. One guy posted in the comment section that calling black people racist is like the new N-word. And I'm almost starting to think that's true. These are all code words. They went from calling President Obama, the Republicans at least, they went from calling him a racist Christian to a racist Muslim, right? He went from being a Christian to a Muslim. Then they call him a socialist. Then they call him a Marxist, right? When it comes to fighters on a coincidental list, what do they call them? They call them cowards. They call them chickens. They call them runners. They call them cocky, etc., etc. These are all code words. These are all code words. I could show you clips of Juan Manuel Marquez, Canelo Alvarez, Manny Pacquiao making the exact same moves in the ring that Floyd Mayweather made. But they're only going to call Floyd Mayweather the runner because these are code words. This is really not about boxing. It's way beyond boxing. And we're seeing the ignorance of that being reality by just listening to the comments that we're listening to and seeing when it comes to Gennady Golovkin. Shit, with all these new code words coming out every day, I might have to come out with a DBN dictionary. Okay? Matter of fact, the new code word is inactive. Oh yeah, that's the new one. Because you notice, when Carl Froch is inactive, nobody has a problem with Golovkin fighting against him, right? You ask somebody right now, what do you think about Mikey Garcia? I guarantee you they'll tell you, oh man, he's a beast. Oh man, he was going to be pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world. That's all they're going to say about him. You ain't going to hear nobody say, oh, fuck that inactive bum bitch, right? But see, that's what they say about Andre Ward. Matter of fact, I did a video and I quoted exactly what some decaf said in my comment section, because that's exactly what he said. He said, stop bringing up that bum, inactive bitch, son of a bitch, S-O-B. That's what this guy said about Andre Ward. These are code words, guys. Code words. I mean, just think of the irony of it all for just a second. I could understand you saying, oh yeah, this guy or that guy is a little inactive. But how do you use a person being inactive as a reason to not like him, right? All the comments I see, fuck Andre Ward, that inactive bitch. Wait a minute, what does being inactive have to do with you not liking someone? It has nothing to do with not liking someone. That's why we call it a cover-up. It is a cover-up. That's all it is. Like I keep telling you guys, if Golovkin says we're fighting Carl Froch next, all of these fans that called Andre Ward an inactive bum bitch, they would be jumping up and down for that fight. Golovkin versus inactive Carl Froch. They will love that fight. Because the inactive word is nothing but a damn code word for what you really want to call fighters on a coincidental list. We can't call them what we want to call them, but it's okay. We'll get around that problem. Yeah, I got a couple of them. Ain't nobody ever gonna decipher what I'm trying to say. Because this is what they saying, guys. This is what they saying. So when you go watch the MMA and you hear them calling them fighters on a coincidental list cocky, arrogant, that guy is fake, I just don't like him. Code words, man. Code words. So funny, man. Phil Heath is the Mr. Olympian. He's the He's the best bodybuilder in the world. Phil Heath, I believe that's his name. I used to follow bodybuilding big time back in the day. I used to have posters up and anyway. But yeah, so Phil Heath, I was watching this documentary and these other guys that are chasing him, they start talking about him, what they thought about him, and it was funny because it was it was the whole Floyd Mayweather Andre Ward thing. These dudes started saying, man, I don't like him. I don't like the guy. He's just cocky and arrogant. I just don't like him. This is what they were saying about Phil Heath. I just don't like him. He's cocky and he's arrogant. Move over to boxing. No, I don't like that guy. He's just cocky. He's arrogant. He's a bitch. He's a runner. He's a coward. Right? Oh, he's inactive. Oh, God, I hate inactive. Man, if it's anything I hate more in life, that is a boxer that is inactive. This is what they try to say when it comes to the coincidental list people. Right? I could go on and on. Man, I could jump from sport to sport to sport. From UFC to boxing to soccer. Oh, man, y'all don't want me to go into no soccer right now. Y'all already know what time it is when it comes to soccer. I could jump to all these sports and expose them for what they really are, or at least expose the people for what they really are. Y'all ain't gonna keep me silent. L to the no, y'all not gonna keep me silent. You could throw as many cold words as you want at me, but it ain't gonna stop this message. Because we gonna keep speaking the whole truth. Guys, that's why it is only a small handful of people that are willing to spit the truth and not be afraid of what people are saying in the comment section. It's only a small handful. Because it takes a lot of balls. It takes a lot of balls. A lot of these guys are afraid to look at their comment section and see all this racist shit. Somebody calling, oh, you nigger, you monkey, you this and you that. Some of these people, they see stuff like that and then they automatically start changing the way they talk boxing. Like, oh, let me try to cater to what they want to hear. Because I don't want to be called no nigger, no monkey no more. I done been called 10,000 monkeys in the last couple of months. Right? Not me. You can call me whatever you want to call me. Just don't call me no damn liar. Because we speak the truth on this channel. That's all I got. I'm on to the next one.